What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with my fantasy football sleepers of the year. These are my must-have guys. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check out the fantasy profiles I have on the channel and a bunch of these players individually. Check out my mock drafts that drop every Monday, my league winners, my RB rankings, updated rankings coming your way soon. Hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. Let's talk sleepers. My first sleeper is New York Giants receiver Kadarius Toney. He flashed immense potential in 2021. He had a 10 reception game where he had 189 receptions, had a 6 reception game where he had 78 receptions. Showed that he could get it done when he was utilized. Last year he had 25% target per route run, which would be 7th best in all of the NFL. He ran a 4.38 yard, 40-yard dash at his pro day. Very impressive numbers. He's very dangerous after the catch. I think this is mainly evident by two statistics. Last year, he was 8th in yards after catch in all the NFL, despite being 98th out of 103 qualified receivers in average depth of target, which makes his yards after the catch numbers pretty incredible. In college, another statistic that shows just how explosive he was, he had 66 rushing attempts at Florida in the SEC, and he averaged 8.8 yards per carry. Explosive player, to say the least. And like I said, he's due for a larger role this upcoming season as Brian Daboll offense. He is now one of the starting wide receivers starting on the outside. We also saw Brian Daboll's offense throw the ball an absolute ton in Buffalo. I think that should continue. If we look at a very impressive stat for him, like I said, 25% of the routes that he actually ran, he was targeted. Now that you have him running a lot more routes, I think he'll be targeted at a much higher rate. Daniel Jones was the quarterback there last year, so they already have some connection somewhat. He's headed into year 2. Just to put a pace on that, if he had 588 passing attempts, which is what the Giants had last year, that would be 147 targets. I don't think he gets that many, but I do think he's due for a much larger role this season. Another thing to point out, not only did he get a lot of targets when he was on the field, he was 11th in the entire NFL in yards per route run, ahead of both Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb. If he's given the opportunity, I think he's going to excel for fantasy football, and it looks like he will be given the opportunity. This offense should be improved this season just by not having Joe Judge and Jason Garrett around. Brian Daboll, I think, is a significant upgrade for this team, and even though I don't think they'll be one of the best teams in the NFL by any means, I think that will mean they will be throwing the ball. Brian Daboll likes to throw the ball a lot as well, and they've already spoken highly of Kadarius Toney and have him in that starting wide receiver role, which he was rarely utilized in last year as a rookie. First-round wide receiver, I think he's basically being left for dead almost in drafts at the 10.03 currently. Not left for dead, but a great value and a guy I love to add to my team because I think his ceiling is a top 5 wide receiver. Not saying he necessarily gets there for sure, but I think that's in the realm of possibility. If he gets 120, 130 targets, I think he could be finished as a wide receiver 1 and be a guy that could really help you win your fantasy football championship. Next up, we have Rhamondre Stevenson. He flashed how good he was in 2021. On 147 touches last year, he had 43 missed tackles, which would be the 3rd highest elusive rating in the entire NFL. Another interesting statistic about him, 3.4 yards per carry after contact, which is a great number when you're average 4.6 yards per carry last year. He was very good as a rookie, graded out as one of PFF's highest graded running backs, both in the running game and the passing game. And now he is going to be used in that 3rd down back role this year where James White used to be. James White had a 15% target share a lot of seasons. In New England, they do like to throw the running back, and now Rhamondre Stevenson has that role as well. He's supposed to get more 1st and 2nd down work this season. They've already used him more in that area. He was utilized a good amount on 1st and 2nd down last year. I think people don't even realize that. 12 carries per game once he got established in that role. I think that number goes up this season. So even if he gets 3 carries more per game, gets that 15 number, and is catching passes, all of a sudden he is a startable running back every single week. And with the talent that we've seen him possess, he could be a guy who could absolutely help you win your championship. He's also lost some weight this year, down to 225, lost about 7 pounds, just coming a little leaner, a little quicker. He is a big back who can handle a full workload and can be dangerous out of the backfield, which is a dangerous skill combination. Another thing to point out, they're making a scheme change, changing to a running scheme more similar to what the San Francisco 49ers and Kyle Shanahan run, more of a zone scheme. I think this fits Rhamondre Stevenson's skill set far more than it fits Dameon Harris's. We've seen Bill Belichick also not care where you were drafted necessarily. He wants to play the best player available, and I think that is Rhamondre Stevenson. I think he's significantly better than Dameon Pierce. They've talked about trading Dameon Pierce. I think that's because they know he might be a solid running back, but he's not much of a scheme fit. Bill Belichick has also talked up Rhamondre Stevenson a lot about his pass pros on third down, which makes me think he is basically locked into that third down role. He also has the second easiest schedule in all fantasy football for running backs this season. I think this offers tremendous upside for him. I think he finishes ahead of Dameon Pierce this year in fantasy, and if something were to happen to Dameon Pierce or they just stop utilizing him, I think he has the ceiling of a top 5 running back this season. I think he could finish as an RB1 or be an RB2 at least. Another thing to point out, Bill Belichick really doesn't trust rookie running backs a ton. Rhamondre Stevenson last year had the most carries any rookie running back had ever had. Even though they drafted Pierce strong, I think he could be inactive for some games. I think he is more of a scheme fit for the offense than Dameon Pierce, but I still think that Rhamondre Stevenson gets the vast majority of this work. I'm not scared away by Dameon Pierce or Pierce Strong Jr. Dameon Pierce is my next sleeper. He's running back going at the 10.02 currently in drafts. He's a big back who can carry the workload for this team. 5'10", 218 pounds, ran a 4.59 at the combine. Good explosiveness for a back that size. Averaged 5.5 yards per carry for his career at Florida, but now is in the SEC, obviously. He's also been great so far in the preseason this year, averaging over 9 yards per carry. I think he has a great opportunity to seize the starting job in Houston with the likes of Marlon Mack and Rex Burkhead currently being there. I think he could potentially even have a third down workload by the end of the season with his skill set. 36 receptions his last 2 seasons in college, averaged 10.3 yards per reception. Again, obviously, that was in the SEC as well. And last year, he was PFF's highest graded FBS running back. He wasn't given a ton of opportunity at Florida, but it looks like he has a ton of opportunity to seize a ton of opportunity in this backfield ahead of him. I think he will be the starting running back on this team before we know it. They do have a solid offensive line. Obviously, they devoted a lot of resources to it. They're ranked 22nd by Pro Football Focus. I think a lot of people think the Houston Texans are the worst team in football, and they very well could be. But Davis Mills showed some flashes last year. They at least have a solid offensive line, and Dameon Pierce should have a ton of opportunity this season. I think he is the most talented running back, and I think that will be evident very quickly based on the options they currently have in that backfield. I think this is a guy you can draft late, currently going at the 10.02. That could very easily be your RB2 that you're happy to plug in each and every week by week 4 or 5. Next up, Chris Olave. He's a very talented NFL wide receiver. We saw him dominate at Ohio State, even though he had a ton of other receiving weapons around him. He was an extremely smooth separator, great route runner, NFL-ready player in that area. Evident by this stat, 96 in separation last year, 96th percentage in separation last year against single coverage. That's an excellent stat when you're looking to transition and getting open in the NFL. He is just very smooth, like I said. Also has that deep ball ability, ran a 4.39. When you combine smooth route running with excellent speed, that's a combination that I really like because it means they can get open down the field. He also had 7 touchdowns of 20-plus air yards last season, and I think that matches up very well with the complementary skill set of Jameis Winston, who's 4th in the NFL in average depth of target last year. Obviously, Michael Thomas is not that guy that's going to be running those deep routes. I think that will be Chris Olave. The team gave up a lot to go get him in this draft. They had the 16th overall pick. They traded their first-round pick, their third-round pick, and their fourth-round pick to move up 5 spots to draft Chris Olave at number 11. They were set on this guy. They passed on Jameson Williams to take him, meaning they want to utilize him early in his career. They're not waiting around for Jameson Williams to recover from that ACL injury. They wanted a guy who could come in and contribute right away, and I think that's what Chris Olave is going to do for fantasy owners as well. Michael Thomas is obviously in New Orleans still, but I don't think Chris Olave needs 130 or 140 targets to be successful for fantasy. I think if he gets 110 or 115, he could have a dynamite rookie year. With the average depth of target that he's going to get down the field, he is going to be that guy. I think he'll be able to get open against NFL cornerbacks right away, and I think Jameis is going to throw the ball there. I think he's going to want to throw the ball to Chris Olave a lot. I think he can be a wide receiver 2 in your leagues, and he's currently going in the middle of the 11th round. He's a great value in drafts that I love grabbing. Another guy I wanted to throw out in this video, he'll be in some more videos very soon, James Cook. The guy was a second-round draft pick for an excellent offense in Buffalo and will likely be the pass-catching running back for them right away. I think he'll be utilizing that role a lot. Like I said, it's a great offense. They have a solid offensive line there, and with that draft capital, I think he will just start to see more and more work. I'm not scared away by the other running backs there, Might not get off to the hottest of starts, but I do think, especially in PPR leagues, he's a guy I would love to target as a sleeper as well. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys for watching.